A billion-dollar sports franchise threatening to liquidate its presence in the third largest market in America isn't just a relocation story. It's a total market rejection of an administration's fiscal infrastructure.
Part of the lure of Hammond, Indiana is the ability to perhaps have fans jump on the South Shore line right here at Millennium Station and take a swift ride to that potential new stadium. And today, the governor of Indiana, Mike Braun, cut the ribbon on a brand new spur off of that train line. So there's the red part there that's brand new. It just opened today. It's going to go from Hammond down south through Munster and Dyer, so maybe some fans there could jump on. But he's used this as an example to tell the Bears that Indiana is open for business. The northwest portion of the state has lots of investment going on, and perhaps the Bears want to jump. Take a listen.
So they've been doing their own due diligence from the time we wrapped it up, and I'd say from everything I can see, it's moving forward at a deliberate speed. So we don't get ahead of our skis. All I can tell you is we move at the speed of business, and we made it easy to get where it is, and we'll keep performing accordingly.
Are you going to provide one extra caveat, maybe a new train station by the proposed site?
Not going to make any promises other than we're going to be easy to deal with, and we're going to move quickly. You never know where that might take you.
When the Chicago Bears start eyeing the Indiana exit, they aren't just looking for a new stadium. They are performing a due diligence review on the cost of doing business in a city where the management fee of taxes and violence has reached a point of negative ROI.
Good evening, Micah. And right around that same time, there was also a large teen takeover type gathering in Hyde Park. Chicago police were there, where we're told they issued several curfew citations and arrested one teen for unlawful possession of a weapon. But around 9:30 is when this woman was shot just off the Mag Mile. The mayor addressing that gun violence today.
They tried to shoot somebody in a car over here, and they were backing up all the way, almost 2 blocks, shooting while reversing the car.
Nathan Goodpasture, visiting from Kansas City, was near Michigan Avenue in East Chicago when he heard the gunshots around 9:30 p.m. Monday.
I thought it was a car backfiring at first, but then a guy pulled up and said, "Hey, actual gunfire." Rolled down the window because I had my kids with me.
We're grateful, by God's grace, that this woman survived this tragedy, and it's why we work so hard to remove guns off the streets of Chicago.
Mayor Brandon Johnson addressing the gun violence at a weekly press conference. A 25-year-old woman was shot in the leg and a 52-year-old man hurt when one of the gunman's cars crashed.
We are witnessing the possible unwinding of the most iconic social asset in Chicago's portfolio, proving that even a legacy brand will divest when the operating environment becomes too toxic to sustain. The Chicago Bears are no longer just a football team. They have become a flight of capital in cleats. I am Camilo Motato, and this is Camilo's House. As a certified public accountant focused on forensic verification, I don't look at the scoreboard. I audit the statement of cash flows that determines where the power actually resides. In a standard audit, if a firm loses its most visible intangible asset while its internal controls are suffering from a sub 10% approval rating, you immediately issue a going concern warning for the entire municipality. Today, we are performing a municipal divestment audit on Brandon Johnson's Chicago. We are analyzing the material inconsistency between a mayor who campaigned on taxing the billionaires and an administration that is now begging to give those same billionaires a $100 million tax subsidy just to stay in the city. This is the final reconciliation of a city whose economic engine is stalled and whose management team is in a state of total personnel liquidation. The operational threat to Chicago's dominance is coming from a low-tax competitor just across the border. Indiana Governor Mike Braun recently cut the ribbon on a brand new infrastructure spur off the South Shore train line, specifically designed to capture the traffic from Millennium Station and funnel it toward a potential new stadium in Hammond. From an investigative standpoint, this is a hostile takeover bid of Chicago's sports market. While Brandon Johnson struggles to manage the inventory of his own staff, Indiana is moving at the speed of business, building the actual physical scaffolding to receive the Bears. Governor Braun isn't making promises. He's performing accordingly, creating an easy entry for a franchise that is fed up with the regulatory friction of Illinois. The forensic conflict inside the Johnson administration has reached a state of functional impairment. For over a year, the management narrative has been focused on taxing the rich to fund social inflows. But now, as the Bears prepare to default on their Soldier Field lease, the Brandy Boy administration is suddenly offering to forego property taxes in Arlington Heights. We are looking at a pilot agreement estimated at $102 million. As a CPA, I track the materiality of hypocrisy. How can a mayor tax the homeowners through property tax hikes because commercial receipts are down, and then turn around and offer a billion-dollar football team a permanent write-off? This policy variance proves that the tax the rich ledger was always a marketing facade for a management team that doesn't understand market realities. The human capital within City Hall is also in a state of total liquidation. Brandon Johnson has fired at least 4 of his top management assets in recent weeks, including his chief homelessness officer, Cindy Soto. While the mayor claims she finished her, quote, 3-year project in less than a year, the, quote, audit trail suggests a management override of ethics. Sources from within the, quote, public safety and, quote, human rights divisions have, quote, disclosed a, quote, hostile work environment where, quote, if you aren't on the team, there's a target on your back. This, quote, institutional volatility is a, quote, systemic risk that, quote, impairs the city's ability to address its most, quote, pressing liabilities, violence and homelessness. You cannot, quote, implement a 5-year plan for the homeless when the, quote, person in charge is, quote, liquidated before the ink on the report is dry. We must also audit the violence surcharge that is currently bankrupting the downtown tourism asset. Just off the Magnificent Mile, a 25-year-old woman was shot in the leg while gunmen engaged in a high-speed shooting through 2 blocks of traffic. A visitor from Kansas City disclosed that he had to roll down his window to warn his kids that actual gunfire was happening. From a risk management perspective, this is a total asset impairment. When families from the middle market can no longer safely transact on Michigan Avenue, the brand value of Chicago as a world-class city suffers a permanent write-down. The mayor's claim that violence is down is a material misstatement that the shareholders are rejecting every time they hear a car backfire that turns out to be a 9mm round. The Soldier Field renovation ledger is the final stress test for the city's treasury. The Park District is asking for $630 million in funding to fix the stadium to ensure it remains profitable if the Bears leave. In auditing terms, this is a sunk cost fallacy. To spend over $500 million on a dying asset that might lose its primary tenant is a fiduciary breach of the highest order. The management is essentially throwing good money after bad, attempting to refinance a legacy asset while the current operations are insolvent. If the Bears liquidate their Chicago position, Soldier Field becomes a ghost asset that the taxpayer will have to amortize for the next 50 years. The Bears management is playing a double-entry game. CEO Kevin Warren has signaled that a site will be settled on by late spring, effectively putting a short sell on the city of Chicago. They are playing Indiana off of Illinois to see who will offer the most capital gains in terms of infrastructure and subsidies. And through it all, Brandon Johnson looks tired and defeated, his social studies teacher persona functionally obsolete in a high-stakes negotiation with NFL billionaires. He is failing the audit of leadership, and the Bears are the leading indicator that the smart money is already heading for the exit. My forensic verdict is that Chicago is currently a distressed asset under incompetent management. The systemic control failure in public safety, the personnel liquidation in City Hall, and the hypocritical tax policy have created a market environment where capital is seeking regulatory asylum in Indiana. The $102 million tax settlement being offered to the team is a desperate bid to prevent the total reputational default of the Johnson administration. But as we know at Camilo's house, you cannot balance the books on a city by redacting the truth about violence and liquidating the staff who try to fix it. I want to hear from you. Is the $100 million tax break for the Bears a necessary incentive to save the city, or is it a material breach of Johnson's tax the rich promise? Should the Indiana extension be seen as a better investment for fans than a dying stadium on the lakefront? Let me know in the comments. Your perspective is the only audit that matters when the social equity of your city and the solvency of your neighborhood are sitting on the negotiation table. I am Camilo Motado, and this is Camilo's House. Subscribe to stay informed on the numbers, the laws, and the truth behind the headlines. Stay safe.